Hello everyone! Welcome to PS Opinion, the series where I talk about my opinions about PSO2 and NGS. Today I'd like to talk about Chapter 5, so if you haven't played it yet, and don't want to be spoiled, then play it before watching this video. Please don't forget to come back though, I'll be lonely. Zandy, Fommel, Baron, Purge. My grandmother, Zafeto, used to tell me stories about the old days. A time of peace after the Guardian defeated Shiva. But all of that changed when the Starless Nation attacked. Only the Guardian, master of all three luster styles, could stop them. But when the universe needed him most, he vanished. 500 years have passed and the day of judgment is upon us. 2 years ago, my father, Ina's father, sacrificed himself so that the three of us could live and carry on Elio's legacy. Some people believe that we're doomed and the game will shut down, but I haven't lost hope. I believe we are going to be able to restore Arx to its former glory. Jokes aside, the story finally gives us something to chew on. The gap between PSO2 and NGS is bridged and the story is finally going somewhere exciting. It felt so cathartic to see the story unfold. I had many theories and a lot of them turned out to be true. I speculated that Halpha might be a terrarium of some sorts. A controlled research environment or a simulation of some kind, though I preferred the terrarium theory. And when thinking as to what the motives might be, I thought, well, probably to create another Guardian like Arx. Probably because Arx are fighting a losing war and they desperately need an absolute unit to carry them. And, well, they're not in an active war, just preparing for one, but my theory that they needed a new Guardian, or Arx Defender Prime, was correct. I felt like such a smartass. I don't like the chapter just because my fanfic turned out to be canon though. There is a lot to like about this chapter in general. I really loved that characters of all regions got their 5 minutes to shine. I absolutely loved Ina being an absolute boss in this chapter.
Are you guys going back to Elio?
Nope.
You're not?
We're going to Lucille. Everyone else should defend their own region. Okay, Crawford?
Fine.
How sad.
What?
You mean to say that this is all you've been doing for so many years? You've been nothing more than a pawn in your own game too.
The small cameos of Nadere, Ilma, and Glenn were also nice.
Did I hear that right? So what you're saying is that you murdered thousands of our friends and family members, correct? And you've been conducting this little experiment since long before any of us here were born. I'm talking to you.
Let the hate flow through you.
Feria, while a little emotionless, was also a very cool addition to the cast of characters. First off, she's cute. Secondly, it's nice to see a character that represents how Menon used to be before she loosened up a bit. As well as how I behave IRL to strangers. I also have to say that playing the older chapters of the game retroactively makes them more enjoyable. We can now more clearly see the character development that was always happening, it was just poorly paced. I don't think it's a hot take, but the story NGS told so far should not have been stretched throughout 2 years. To put it into perspective, in PSO2, we were nearing the finale of the second episode by this point. I'm not saying PSO2's story was perfect in those 2 years. Far from it. but at the very least we got more stuff done in the same amount of time. I really hope the second episode of NGS won't repeat the same mistakes as the first episode. People were so happy with Chapter 5 that NGS was trending on Twitter for the first time in a long while. People are starving for this game to have good story content, and I really hope the positive reaction will tell the devs they should put more focus on the story. Of course, that doesn't mean that each chapter needs to have crazy reveals like Chapter 5. Just seeing these NPC interact with each other is great. One area that's absolutely dire are side characters. Why does none of the class tutors have any story attached to them? Marlu and Oza bickering wasn't exactly kino, but it was better than nothing. And hey, I really enjoyed Pietro being a bumbling idiot, and pretty much everything related to the Scion class trainers. Small stories like that would be perfect to bridge the gap between the big updates that take 6 months to release. I guess we have Central, but I really wish we had stuff like that in-game. Daedre and Hornian are the best ship, by the way. Don't add me. Anyway, the instance story quest area was very cool. While I didn't mind a more narrative-driven tour through the combat sectors, I did miss handmade dungeons a bit. I was very happy to see their return. Speaking of things I was happy to see return, finally! An enemy that talks during combat. I really miss when we had multiple bosses who spoke during combat. I guess it does make sense as to why none of the dolls speak, they are artificial after all, but that just makes them feel empty. Which was arguably the point. I just wish the point wasn't spread across 2 years. I also feel that Eternal Wind has been handled way better than Eternal Encore, as the episode representing Song. In PSO2, Kuna's story didn't really have anything to do with the Dark Falls Elder story. It honestly felt a little jarring. We also didn't have concerts till after the first episode was over, so we really didn't have time to grow attached to the song that played during the credits either. In NGS, the song is very important throughout the second chapter, and part of it also plays during the Dark Falls Aegis fight. We also spent a year listening to it during concerts, and I grew very attached to it. And then, as the episode is about to end, having Manon sing it as the title of the game shows up just hits really hard.
Rest, O weary souls, no more tales to tell. Bid the world a farewell as it sinks into twilight. Right upon the wind, eternity waits for you gently to close your eyes as you dream of the morning light.
I honestly can't tell you how excited I am for the next headline. It's gonna be huge. It has to. They'll need to talk about May updates and start revealing episode 2 content, which as far as we know will include new enemy types, possibly a new planet, maybe a new ARC ship lobby, and they're gonna have a special guest too. I really wish I could fast forward time right now. Though, if we're gonna get an ARC ship lobby, then I honestly am not sure how I'd feel about that. It runs the risk of Central City becoming somewhat deserted, which wouldn't be cool for new players. We will have to see what SEGA is cooking on that front. Anyway, these were my unbridled thoughts on Chapter 5. I really enjoyed it, and I really hope this is a positive sign of things to come. I really hope, if the second episode takes place on a new planet, that we won't be stretching the story over 2 years again. A lot of pacing issues in NGS could have really been fixed with more frequent story updates. But what's your opinion on Chapter 5? Did it deliver, or were you left wanting more? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment and subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss out on any of my fantastically awful videos. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Take care!